So today we're going to take this 1963 crestliner that I restored years ago as a gift to my mom, actually, because my parents bought a boat identical to this in 1963 with the Evinrude 75 horse Starflight 5 offshore edition. The offshore edition was blue, the standard was gray. And this one, along with his, had power tilt, which in 1963, if you pulled up to the beach with power tilt, they looked at you and say, what is that unholy thing? And how did you manage to raise that motor magically? Because it just wasn't an unheard of option. And I guess the story was from my mother that Dad didn't tell anybody he bought the boat. And he just showed up at the beach on a Friday evening to get set up for camp. And when he pulled up to the beach, he tipped the motor up and you heard this as she tipped up, and everybody lost their shit. So I'm bringing this up before I leave because this is a common problem in all trailer wiring harnesses. I don't wire them this way anymore. On my last trailer video, I showed that I run a ground and I split it and I go to each individual light because I absolutely hate the ground problems. You notice that my lights are flashing on my truck. Well, they're not flashing on the trailer, but they will be after a few miles because everything's grounded and everything's cool. Well, actually, no, it's not. There's no ground through the receiver because it's rusty, which there may be no ground at the ball because it's rusty. I'm going to guarantee there's no ground here at this point because it's rusty, or the actual flip pivot for the tilt bed trailer. What I usually do is I run a weld right down here, so this no longer functions, and I run a weld right straight down here. Just run one weld so it's sealed. I make sure they're clamped together real super tight because that affects the winch stand and its angle with the bow and all that, and the roller and what have you. That is a way to get around the trailer grounding problems. But then you got everything else that bolts to the trailer. Okay, that just clamps on there. Well, no ground there probably. Although they've got an auxiliary ground to the body of the trailer, which is a good thing. And that might function, but if you look at the nuts, they're rusty as hell. So I guess my whole point in bringing this video up was to introduce the boat, because I'm going to take it out to the lake and run it around a little bit and make another video. But I want to talk about trailer wiring harnesses and what a pain in the butt they really are. And people just rip their hair out because they can't figure out why it don't work, why they don't have, why they don't have power back there. They probably have power back there, but they have no ground. And this is a common problem. After 50 years in the boat shop, half the stuff comes in here. I know exactly what's wrong with it the second it shows up. No ground. Kind of like that. Ain't got no gas in it. It's pretty simple thinking, but it really stumps a lot of people because they're not wiring gurus, which I will need to be a wiring guru for that. But anyway, that's enough for this video. I don't want to burn up a lot of time. Don't want to make a huge long video about this, but just saying, if you got power in your wiring harness and it's going to the trailer plug and you still don't have any lights, it's just a series of problematic grounds. The receiver is always problematic. The ball, the trailer latch assembly, the pivot, and then of course way back there, obviously depends on where your light's actually grounded to. So those stay up and out of the water, and that was really a great idea that this guy had on this trailer. Maybe this is the way it came. I don't know what the deal is, but I will be repainting this boat at some point. I've got 10 boats ahead of it. Just going to go out and play with it and use it today and enjoy it, and I'll make another video when we get it in the water. Bye. So today, on this beautiful day, there's a boat out on a lake here in front of me. Wanted to get this done. We're in the 1963 crestliner Flying Crest with the 75 horse Evinrude offshore. And there's a little bit of a breeze out here, so we're kind of doing the sailing thing at the moment and tacking down river. So it's a beautiful lake. This is our lake, Lake Zumbro. Just to introduce you to the lake. It's a highly used recreational lake. Quite big, actually. And hopefully the wind won't be a bother, but I wanted you to hear this thing. This thing's got a definite unique growl to it when it takes off. It's a unique sound when it starts. Just everything about it is pretty much unique. So, also I was going to mention something here. I'll be doing more videos on this boat later, but my parents owned a boat identical to this when I was in 1963. They bought it brand new. And I did a little video about trailer maintenance, and I'm tagging this right along with it. This is the boat ride after the trip. And this is the only existing part to their old boat. It went over the power dam on this lake in a really bad storm. It broke loose from the dock. And that is all we have. But I saved the wood, the piece. I put all this new stuff in it. I think I had to replace the amp gauge, but I saved as much as I could. This is same but new. The other one was destroyed or ruined because it got wet, and this knob got broke off. Long story short, it was pretty screwed, so I had all this stuff at the shop. So as you can hear, it's got a really nice sound for the V4. It's unique to this particular era of boat. Another thing about this, the Johnson Super Quiet, the only difference between the whole motors and the Johnson Super Quiet and this motor is the hood, which gives it a completely different tone. It gives it a deeper tone. It's just a completely different sound. I tried this at my shop and swapping hoods, and it's like, oh my God. Couldn't believe it. Anyway, so it's really charging hard because it started hard today. It hadn't been run for a year. So this is a push button shift. So you got neutral, forward, reverse, so it's an electric shift. Everybody barks about that, but I want to tell you what, I rarely replace electric shifts. I went through tons of the other ones. So electric shifts are not bad. If you maintain them and you put the right oil in them, they'll live forever. Now, I'm running a mixture of Mercury two-stroke oil in this thing because I just absolutely love Quicksilver oil. And I'm also, give you an idea, and I also add 2 ounces of cloth, snowmobile oil to it too. And I no longer have anybody complaining about smoke coming out of this motor. It eradicated the oil smoke. It makes it smell nice. So that's pretty much the extent of that. So again, they got clear stay up here for a while. So see if I can get this thing to growl. Oh wait. Get through the waves. We're gonna let it growl. Go for a little boat ride. I'll probably do another one attached onto this too. As you can hear, it's got a very unique sound. This thing to find out what it really does. I do have another one of these just like this with a Johnson 75 horse on it, and it does almost 50. These boats just absolutely scoot. They just do. They just fly. Wow, that light brightened right up. That's what she needed, some heavy duty charging. Holy Christ. Well, I'm gonna go drive this thing around a little bit and blow the dust off of her, and this is just part one of probably another part of this when I get turned around and going the other way. The wind, I think, is a real big problem, but That 1963 outboard runs like the day it was new. It's got brand new points. Pretty much got her all set up so she runs nice, dependable, just like my parents had. So that was a very long time ago, 1963. I was 3 years old. So actually I slept down here. I don't know how I fit. My parents had a top fort and they did, we camped at the beach all the time. But this is the end of this little boat ride here. We'll get back to you later. So we're back, and I just did a speed run with the GPS, and the best I ran was 35 miles an hour out of the old girl, but hit some waves and slowed it down a little bit, but she's still running good. Still percolating back there. So, and it looks like there's a unique little thing called a deadhead coming up here. Hopefully all you boaters know what the dangers of hitting one of them is. Yeah, there, right there, deadhead. If you can see that, hiding under the waves. It's like a whole tree. So, anyway, I did find the ultimate cruising speed for this thing's about 15 to 20, or actually about 20 miles an hour is perfect. Rides real nice for an aluminum boat, and it just sounds so damn good. That thing runs just amazing. Absolutely freaking amazing. I only brought 6 gallons of gas, which by the way happens to be about a total of a 45-minute flight plan in this old girl, because she's hard on fuel. It's not really the Fat 4, but it's still pretty rotund. Kind of robust, we'll call it that. Robust fuel consumption. It likes fuel. And there's a lot of American flags flying on the lake, supporters of everybody, and it's a win. We're gonna speed her up. Now listen to that sound. I just love how this thing sounds at this speed. Now, Johnson's super quiet. You wouldn't even hear that thing. It'd sound totally different. Way deeper pitch. Same damn motor. It's weird. I have a 61 crestliner. This is probably bad because I don't hold my camera up, but there's people playing in the water. It's 85 degrees. It's the end of September. It's a win. My 61 crestliner is the one I have that 75 horse Johnson on. Or 62 crestliner, yeah. That one, I just love that boat. But that thing just absolutely hauls the mail. I don't know why. Well, I have a different prop on it. I have a brass speed prop. This one has an aluminum speed prop on it. So, there is that. I got an object in the water here in the middle of the channel, which I don't know what the hell it is, so I gotta slow down here. See what's going on. Hopefully it's water ski. Not another deadhead in the middle of the lake. That would suck. Anyway, that's all for now. Just me and the old 75 horse going putt, putt, putt. I got another boat I want to take out, so I got to wrap this up and take this guy home and get him put away and grab the next one, because I only have a day left. So, anyway, like and subscribe.